Greetings YouTube. I got a special knife here I wanted to share with you all. I don't normally make YouTube videos, but I thought this would be kind of nice. This particular knife has some sentimental value to me, and I'm going to modify it, so I thought I'd make a YouTube video of it as I got it before I go and mess it all up. Sorry for the fingerprints. Anyway, this is a Chuck Stapel knife. I don't know if you've ever heard of Chuck Stapel. I hadn't. But anyway, I acquired this in Maui on my honeymoon. So yeah, I probably paid too much for it, especially since they got the thing and put this scrimshaw, what do you call it? I don't know, ivory tusk in there. They did say it was humanely acquired or whatever, so I don't think they killed anybody for the, or anything for any animals for the tusk. But anyway, like I said, I got this on my honeymoon, so it has sentimental value, and I really like it. So even though I paid too much, I don't really care. I'm not going to mention how much I paid for it because they'll probably just make fun of me. Anyway, it wasn't insanely pricey, but it was probably more than I should have paid. Anyway, so Chuck Stapel, if you haven't heard of him, like I said, I haven't. He makes custom knives for movie props or custom knives for celebrities and that sort. And I guess he's been making knives for a long time. They say he's a master knife maker. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know too much about the guy. But I can tell you, it feels like a sturdy knife. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I just want to talk about the blade design, why I like it, what I'm going to do to it. I wanted to show it before I go and mess it up. So the design obviously is very similar to a Tom Brown tracker knife. You can see this notch here, which I have an issue with. I don't like it. The Tom Brown tracker knife, the spine, or I guess what would you call that? Kind of like a saber grind, kind of like a saber grind, I guess, with a little bit of a. It's got a moderate hollow grind to it. Anyway, the saber grind portion, or whatever you want to call it, of the spine on the Tom Brown knife, it kind of comes down a bit and gets in the way. And I have a big beef with the Tom Brown knife because I feel like the philosophy of the knife is really kind of a oxymoron. I feel like these knives are supposed to be kind of kukri-like, not in appearance but in function. Kukri knives, they're not just a curved knife like everybody thinks. A kukri knife is actually, you want a more obtuse and stronger edge on the end for chopping, chop chop, and you want kind of more of an acute and finer edge, sharper edge for fine work. And I think that's really what the Tom Brown knife, or the tracker knife in general, is supposed to be about. Why they put this thing here, I have no clue. You can totally accomplish the two type of bevel on the knife without the notch. I think the notch just sort of gets in the way when you're trying to work with it. But in this particular knife, I have a bigger beef because the strength of the blade edge, I believe, will get weaker as you get farther from the spine, right? Well, to me, thinking if this is, like a kukri, you're supposed to be a kukri in use, not in appearance, but in use, you want this edge to be tougher. Well, if you're getting farther from the spine, this is going to get finer and more delicate. Sharper, sure, but you don't want this to be sharp. You want this to be the sharper edge, this to be the stronger edge. So I think it was more of maybe it was an oversight, maybe I'm overthinking it. I've done some measurements on the knife, and it's all probably pretty strong, but I intend to grind it off, which is why I wanted to make the video before I do that. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Let me talk a little bit about the specs of the knife. The knife weighs 10.5 ounces, and the measurements, let's see, it is about 6.5 little over 6 3/4, I think, from the beginning of the edge to the end. That's just measured straight out. So which is a good size for me. That's sort of the magic number for a good general purpose knife. The spine thickness is 0.190 of an inch, so it's just over a fifth, or I guess just under a fifth of an inch. Otherwise, 4.75 millimeters in thickness. It's pretty beefy. No complaints whatsoever. It's very strong. Nothing's not gonna snap. It's made of a 1095 steel. The paperwork I got on it said it was hardened to 5758 RC, which I think is a good hardness. You know, it might be, I mean, for 1095, I feel like that's probably going to be pretty tough. Maybe it's not going to be the absolute best edge retention, but it's going to be easy to sharpen, and it's going to be pretty tough, and I think it's still going to hold a pretty good edge. What else? I did measure, as I complained about before, the edge getting thinner further from the spine. I measured the edges here with my calipers. I measured, this is 25 thousandths, and this is 20 thousandths right here at the tip. So 25 thousandths, I think that's strong enough, especially considering this is a hollow grind. Anyway, I'm going to grind this off and make it rounded, so it's all about 25 thousandths, maybe 30 thousandths, just to get a little bit tougher over here towards the end. Anyway, so as you can see, there's a saw back. The saw back is very nice. No, you're not going to be sawing through the tree branch. It's really just for notching. And I haven't tried it yet, but it very closely resembles my Tops. What is it? I forget, the big one with the sawback. Tops sawbacks work really well, and this is the same kind of sawback you see on the Tops knives. It works well, at least on the Tops knife, it works fantastically. Haven't tried this one yet, but I believe it's going to work well. So got some jimping on the back. Not much of a finger guard, but it's kind of further up. It almost works like a choil, but you know, I'm not sure if a choil has to be here or what, but works pretty well. You can also it's got a nice thumb ramp. You can get further up and do the fine work. Yeah, it's really nice. I like it. You can see here, Stapel knives. Like I said, if you haven't heard of Chuck Stapel, you should look him up. I did. Seems like most of his knives are one of a kind. This particular knife, I believe there were only a couple of them made. It's hard to really tell because he just sort of makes them and doesn't really put serial numbers or anything on it. But I went to his Facebook page, and it seems like there's, you know, a couple people out there with knives that are similar. I think they're all unique, but similar. This one in particular is even more unique, given that the shop in Maui that I got it from picked it up, and I think they cut this out and put their ivory in there and ground in this, you know, pretty but to me useless boat on there. But you know, sentimental value. I got this on my honeymoon, and I intend to use it. I'm going to try to protect this if I can, but really I don't care too much. This is something I'm going to use, and hopefully, if it survives, pass down to my children and children's children, etc., etc. I don't know, we'll see. Could break on my first use. You'll probably hear more from me on it later, especially as I come back after, like I said, I'm going to grind this down. So, let's see, what other points was I going to make? Yeah. Oh, the balance. I forgot to mention those. This thing is nice. I mean, it feels really good. It's really sturdy. It's not forward heavy, but if you choke back on it, yeah, I mean, there's no lanyard hole. All right, well, you know, what can you do? But still, I feel like I had a good grip on it back here. You can definitely forward heavy, then go up a little further. You know, it's nice, a little bit forward heavy, but if you choke up here, it's actually very balanced. I don't know if you can see with the camera positioned the way it is, but It's very balanced right there. It's a very good feeling knife. So we'll see after I shave that off. Like I said, it has sentimental value, so if I go and F it up, then that's gonna suck. But well, thanks for watching. Thought I'd share. Later.